Canada Soccer has announced the CanMNT roster for this upcoming window against Qatar and Uruguay, and it is a very exciting time to be a CanMNT fan. And of course, probably the most excited I've been for a roster drop, and it has very well been a brilliant roster that has come out. You have so many great positives on this roster with Theo Corbeanu, Luca Koleosho, Ismael Kone, and Joel Waterman getting that much deserved call up. But this is a very exciting time, and there's of course a few negatives go along with it, which we'll break down in a few seconds. But this is my CanMNT roster review, guys, and we got to talk about these positives, and we're going to start off with Theo Corbinu. Theo Corbinu has been absolutely brilliant for Blackpool in the championship and has been much deserved of this call up for the CanMNT. He joins a very exciting group of wingers and a talented group of wingers for another youngster joining him with Luca Koleosho. But Theo Corbeanu, at the age of 20, on loan from Wolves for Blackpool in the championship, has been lights out brilliant, having 9 games, 3 goals, and in one of the best leagues in the world. I know you guys could argue that, but I really think this is one of the best leagues in the world in the championship. He's been brilliant, scoring some exciting goals, having some great pressure and moving the ball forward. His dribbling's been amazing, and how he's so good two-footed, and he's going to be very versatile for John Herdman, as he can probably adapt playing at a number 9 role and also is brilliant on either wing. But of course, he's not the only positive, as we've seen Luca Colyosho get another call-up after that absolutely horrendous window he had with us back then, when there's the friendlies, the wages, everything going on. Luca Colyosho is back, and we must have guaranteed him something for him to come back after that horror show. But Luca Colyosho has to be one of the most exciting dual nationals out there, and one of the most exciting wingers out there for Canada, US, and the Americas, because this is very exciting. This is an 18-year-old winger who is currently playing in La Liga for Espanyol. He's not playing for the second side. He's not playing in the second division in the Segunda. He is playing for Espanyol's first team. He fought for that role, and at the age of 18, that is remarkable. To be playing in a top 5 league, playing at the peak of his ability. Yes, he's not starting week in, week out, but he's earned 2 appearances so far in the league, getting some substitute minutes, and he's probably on the cusp of starting for this Espanyol side, and hopefully will be earning it, as Espanyol don't have the greatest of team, don't have the greatest of wingers. But this is so exciting to see Luca Koleosho get this call up. With Stefan Mitrovic leaving, I've been a huge fan of Stefan Mitrovic myself. I think he's a very good talent. I think he's a very bright talent. I'm very sad that we did lose him. Yes, you could argue that he hasn't been given those caps yet. He hasn't played for Serbia yet. They haven't committed him, but it is basically confirmed, so I'm not going to go there. I want to dwell on Luca Koleosho. This is very exciting. Everyone has probably argued that Stefan Mitrovic is that number 1 dual national out there, but I want to play a bit of devil advocate here, because Luca Kolyosho is currently playing in a top 5 league. Yes, he's not starting week in, week out. Yes, he's not playing the Champions League. Stefan Mitrovic was now in the Europa League. He is currently playing in a top 5 league for Espanyol, playing with more quality in training, playing with more quality and top talent in training, and playing in La Liga. It is one of the best leagues in the world, probably top 3 in my opinion, and he's doing it as an 18-year-old for Espanyol. Yes, he's not starting, but he's in the cusp of starting for that side. They're not the most brilliant, talented side in the world, but they have more talent player, through position on Espanyol than they do in Red Star Belgrade. And I think, personally, devil's advocate here, I think Luca Kolyosho might be a better steal and a better pickup than Stefan Mitrovic. That is why I'm more excited about Luca Kolyosho coming in than Stefan Mitrovic. Yes, there's obviously a lot more positive with Stefan Mitrovic. He's killing it right now on the main stage with Red Star Belgrade. He's with Milan Bojan. He is able to play in multiple positions, whether that be on the wings, whether that be at the number 10. But you look at Luca Kolyosho, he is a tier 1 potential player, like a lot of players we currently have in this Canadian side right now. And it is very exciting to see that we got a tier 1 player, dual national. You could say here on quotations, he hasn't committed yet. But for me, Luca Kolyosho is going to commit. He's coming for 2 windows already. He's not just coming for camps. He is coming into play. And I think he's going to get a start, or should 100% be given a start from John Herdman, because these are matches where we're going to be seeing our best players in the field. And I think Luca Kolyosho has a point to prove in this window against these 2 top nations. I'm going to talk about a couple more positives, and of course, Ismael Kone and Joel Waterman. I'm going to bunch them into one little segment here, guys, because I don't want to make this video extremely long. There's so much to talk about and so much excitement I got in this roster, and I'm going to be making separate videos, of course, on this roster drop, whether that be in the goalkeeping department, whether that be our striking issues, whether that be on our exciting wingers of Koleosho and Corbinu. I'm going to have separate videos on those two. I got so much planned for this roster drop. But Ismael Kone and Joe Waterman have given the call-ups. Ismael Kone has also been known as a tier 1 potential player. I think it was Peter Galindo who came out on Twitter, NFP's one and only. He came out saying that he has a Norwich connection. They said that he's looked at as a tier 1 talent or a tier 1 player. That is incredible to see. That looks like, so look at our tier 1 players now. You got Jonathan David, you got Alphonso Davies, you got Ismael Kone, you got Luca Koleosho, you got players like Tejon Buchanan for me who could be a tier 1 player. You got also players like, it's just a brilliant group of players. We have Stephanie Stacchio. We got a lot of tier 1 players out there now, and it is very exciting. This young core is going to keep getting better and better, and this is a brilliant move. Ismael Kone for me should be starting in a midfield pivot, a midfield 2 of Stefano Stacchio and Ismael Kone. You got the pace, you got the power, you got the passing ability. Ismael Kone will be argued and talked about how he was in the last window for Canada when he looked shaky, but he has improved and looked phenomenal for CF Montreal since then. And you just got to look at how brilliant he is, and I think he is going to be deserving of starting for this Canada side going into the World Cup, unless Atiba Hutchinson comes back and has something to say about that. But for me, the main talking point here, or one of the bigger talking points, I'm not going to dwell on this, but it's Joe Waterman. I'm so excited for the BC native, the guy coming from the CPL from Cavalry. And this is a brilliant move for him. I'm so excited for Joe Waterman. It pushes Daniil Henry out of the roster. I'm really not Daniil Henry's biggest fan. He's been absolutely poor, very poor since the last window. Even since then, I've never been a big fan of Daniil Henry. He has played himself out of this roster, and Joe Waterman has easily just walked in and strolled nice and seamlessly straight into this roster. And I don't see how he isn't the perfect replacement for Steven Vittoria. Yes, we lost Tom Holmes, and I'm a bit sad about that, and I wish we would look at changing those government rules, but as sad as that is, we still got Joe Waterman here, and Joe Waterman is a brilliant player, and I think eventually, maybe give him a year. Maybe this next coming up year or something, he can earn himself a move to Europe. Maybe to a Red Star Belgrade. Maybe to a side in Belgium. He's still a very good player, and hopefully we could see himself earn a move, because Joe Waterman really deserves it. And it'd be amazing to see a CPL player go from the CPL to CF Montreal to Montreal playoff, or CF Montreal playoff side, and then to Europe. It'd be so exciting to see that transformation. But you look at this side, it could be a Joel Waterman coming for Steven Vittoria. We could have a Kamal Miller. It would be so exciting to see that back line. And Joel Waterman really deserves this. He does. He has played phenomenally. And if anyone wants to argue in the comments that Joel Waterman should not be in this Canada side, I would love to hear that argument, because you got something coming to you if you think Joel Waterman shouldn't be in this Canada side. I'm not saying starting, but he needs to be in the side over Daniil Henry, and he rightfully deserved that and earned that. But you also have to look at players like Scott Kennedy. Scott Kennedy for me has been fantastic. Why do we have so many left side center backs when other nations are crying out for left side center backs? I don't understand it. Scott Kennedy, Derek Cornelius. You got so many talented left footed center backs, and then the list goes on and on. But these guys are brilliant, and I think Derek Cornelius is a fantastic footballer, as well as Scott Kennedy. You just got to look what they bring to a football field. You got some pace, you got some passing ability out of the back, you got calmness, aerial threat. And it's very exciting to see what this Canada side has, because we got a bit of height in us going into that opposition box in the World Cup. And it's going to be very fun. But I got to talk about this. I think Scott Kennedy deserves to get a start this window, whether that be against Uruguay, whether that be against Qatar. I think he deserves a start. I'd love to see a Vittoria Miller and maybe a Kennedy Waterman starting pair, and let Derek Cornelius come on as a substitute, because I think Waterman and Kennedy really have something to prove here, and they could push themselves in. Steven Vittoria is a lock. He is very much a lock. And Kamal Miller, for me, should be a lock. It just time will tell what Steven Vittoria, or what Scott Kennedy, Derek Cornelius, and Joel Waterman have to say about that. But our backline is looking phenomenal. As a Canadian for years and years, I always watched the games. I was so scared to see our backline to play. I was so scared to see center backs. I was so scared to see our fullbacks. And now you look at our fullbacks and our center backs, it's honestly probably one of our better and strongest positions, especially winger as well. And what we have up front is very exciting as well. And I'm excited to talk about this right here. I'm also going to do this in another video, a Charles Andres Brim and a Lucas Cavallini argument here. I don't understand why we need so many strikers. Yes, we have Brim, we have Likes of Cavallini, Corbinu can even play as number 9. You have the likes of Kyle Larin, Ike Ugbo, Alphonso Davies. For me, bringing up so many number 9s kind of shows me that Alphonso might be a left-sided fullback or a winger. Because why would you bring up so many number 9s if he's not going to be? And I've also seen a couple people talking about why is Brim there. And I don't understand this argument. Brim is a very good forward who is very versatile and extremely versatile. And when you go to the World Cup, you want versatile players there as well. Especially at the national side, you want versatile. Brim can play on the right. He can play at the left. Predominantly, he's a number 9. Or he can drop back and play the ball around. For me, Lucas Cavallini is a one-way number 9 who sits up top and scores you goals or can hold up the play. And one thing that scares me with Lucas Cavallini for years is his threat to get cards booked. That suspension he got with Vancouver Whitecaps a couple weeks ago was absolutely stupid, and for me does not deserve a call-up. You can't be that reckless, and you can't be earning yourself a call-up like that. It is absolutely ridiculous. And for me, I've been saying for a year, months, windows, that Cavallini should be able to decide. And I'm very excited to see the progression even a guy like Theo Bear in the Scottish Premiership has taken. He's been looking very well. He is kind of a player that we don't have on the national side as well. He's a stronger, bigger built number 9 who can hold up the ball, can play it well, and he's looking very exciting as well. And for me, I do not like this call-up of Cavallini, and I've always stood by that. It's a negative for me on this roster. For me, look at the lack of depth in the midfield. Why do we have so many number 9s when we have a lack of depth in the midfield? A guy who should have been given the call for me, yes, this is a rogue shout, but it's Victor Lattori. Victor Lattori has been brilliant in the Scottish Premiership, and I think bring him in, let him learn, let him feel the atmosphere. Yes, he might not be there at the World Cup because, of course, Atiba is going to take that spot. But let him learn, let him see the atmosphere, let him get integrated. I know it's a bit of a rogue shout, but Victor Lattori would have been brilliant. Just an extra 6th midfielder. Let him feel the atmosphere. Yet let him get used to what the culture is at the national side, at the camp. And let John Herdman work with him for a bit. He can feed off Ismael Kone. He can learn off a bit of Stefan Eustáquio. He can see the tier 1 players of Alphonso Davies, the likes of Jonathan David, feel the culture of Canada. I think it would have been a brilliant call-up. Yes, it's very rogue, but I'd love to hear what you guys have to say around this Canada side. Of course, let's just do one quick roundup. Goalkeepers of Boyan, Crepeau, and St. Clair. Defenders of Atakubi, Alphonso Davies, Derek Cornelius, Alistair Johnston, Scott Kennedy, Richie Larea, Kamal Miller, Stephen Vittoria, and Joel Waterman. Midfielders rounding off with Stephen Eustáquio, Mark Anthony Kay, Ismael Kone, Jonathan Osorio, and Samuel Piet. Forwards being Charles Andres Brim, Tejon Buchanan, Lucas Cavallini, Jonathan David, Teo Corbinu, Junior Hoylett, Luca Koleosho, Kyle Larin, Liam Miller, and Ike Ugbo. Guys, let me know what you guys think of my bold predictions of Victor Lattori, my positive takes on Colyosho, Corbinu, Kone, and so much more. Let me know what you guys think on this Canadian roster drop. I want to give myself a day to talk about this, let all my thoughts sink in. I have so many more videos I'm going to get coming out, guys, talking about the center backs there, the issues, talking about the midfield problems, Ismael Kone's potential, hearing that he's a tier 1 potential player, talking about the goalkeeper situation, who should be the number 2, and going into the future, what will happen there, looking at the Brim Cavallini comparison, why one shouldn't be there, also talking about these exciting dual nationals and wingers. I have so many videos after this roster drop, and I'm so excited to get on them. Guys, let me know what you guys think of the content, and I'll see you guys for the next one, and hit that drop, a like, comment, and hit that sub button. I'll see you for the next one. Peace.